Hi there, welcome back. In this session, what we will be looking at is again to use the ccBPM, but unlike all the sessions we've dealt with so far, the input was always a single file. You would get one input and then you would do something with that input and push it out. What if your requirement is to combine multiple source file? What if your requirement says, hey, you're going to get these two files, pick up these two files, make sure you get both the files, and then combine the data in these two files and push the file out. Let's give an example, right? Let's say there's a file one that has employee ID, name, first name and last name, right? Then there's another file that has employee ID, the same employee ID, and then you have the address, the city, the postal code, and the country, right? So how do you combine these two files? Right now the requirement says, your business says, system A is going to send me this file, system B is going to send you this file, and the file needs to be combined and make sure that the employee ID is the same for both these files, right? This file can have, let's say, EMP ID. Make sure that the EMP ID is the same. So combine, if say employee ID 5 is coming, make sure the EMP ID file, wait until this file is available, take the data from this file and then combine it and then push it out to a third party system. So what if the requirements is for you to wait for a file until the next file comes in and make sure you're correlating these two files with a particular number and then combining the data within these numbers. If those are the kind of requirements, again you need to use a ccBPM, and that is the exact scenario we will be looking at, where one file will contain, like we saw, the employee number, the first name, last name. The second file will contain the employee number and the address, and then a ccBPM will combine these two data and push it out to a third file, right? The same way that we saw, the first file will have an outbound asynchronous service interface that will be pushed out to the BPM using an abstract asynchronous. The second file, again, you'll have a separate SIOA which will get pushed out, and then from the BPM you'll be sending out to a file. So there are total 6 service interfaces that we are going to be defining: 2 outbound, 1 inbound, and 3 abstract asynchronous. Okay. Then we look at the data type. You need a data type for the source, 2 files for the source. So data type source 1, source 2, and then data type for the target, and same way the likewise message type and the service interfaces. So with that, let's get started. I'll close all. I'll go ahead and, as always, create a namespace, right? I'm going to call it http://ccbpm/file collect files _00, because we're going to collect files, right? And I'm going to call it namespace for collecting source files using ccBPM. All right, now let's go ahead, close, and in my namespace I'm going to create a data type. The data type is going to be dt_src1_00. Within this, we are going to now call insert sub element EMP ID, first name, last name. Perfect. The first data type is created. Next, let's create the next data type, dt_source2_00. All right, I'm going to call it again here. I'm going to call that as employee number. I'm going to make it XSD type string, insert element. I'm going to say address. No, I'm not going to say anything here. I'm going to say insert sub element street insert sub element, insert element, city, insert element, postal code, and here finally we'll say country. Okay, now the data type is created. Let's go ahead and create a message type, right? So I'm going to call it empty underscore source one. No, we didn't create a target data type. Let's create a target data type first. dt underscore tgt underscore 00. All right, I'm going to insert an element here, sub element here, and let's call it employee ID. Let's call it name. I'm going to concatenate the first name and the last name, and just address, right? And for the address, we will use in the mapping the copy XML subtree function, which we have seen previously. All right, the address is also done. Now let's create a target structure. Empty underscore source one underscore 00, and that's going to use the data type dt underscore src1. All right, my message type is created. Next, I'm going to create my next message type, empty underscore src2 underscore 00. Now I'm going to select the dt underscore src2, drag it, drop it, save it. All right, next, third message type is going to be empty underscore tgt underscore 00. This is the target message type, and I'm going to drag the target data type and put it here, and our target message type is done. Let's create a service interface. I'm going to call it SIOS underscore, sorry, SIOA underscore source one underscore 00. All right, it's outbound asynchronous. It uses this message type. Perfect. Next, save the service interface. The next service interface is going to be, SIOA underscore, sorry, AA underscore SRC1 underscore 00, and the message type is going to be the same. But before that, before we drag and drop the message type, this is abstract. Make sure you select abstract. It is asynchronous. So you go ahead and drag the message type. Next, we are going to create a service interface that is for the second object, SIOA underscore source2 underscore 00. And I'm going to drag my message type underscore source1, save. Next message service interface is SIAA underscore source2 underscore 00. And I'm going to drag the message type source2 and put it here. And finally, I'm going to define the next service interface that is called SIAA target underscore 00, because my BPM is the sending system. It is always important for you to remember who's the sending system, who's the receiving system, and that makes life much easy. So this is my empty target, right? And then the last service interface that we are building, SIAA underscore, sorry, SIIA underscore TGT underscore 00, and that will have again empty TGT as a, it's inbound. Excuse me, it's inbound, and drag and drop this guy. All right, so with that, all our service interfaces are done. Let's go ahead and create our mapping. You'll only have one mapping, and this mapping is going to combine two source messages into one target message. So let's see how that is done. So mm source1 underscore source2 underscore 2 tgt, right? So let's go into the signature function now, and I'm going to add my message type. So the first message type I'm going to add is empty source1, and now click on the plus sign below. You see the plus sign here, click on that, and I can drag empty source2 and put him here. So now my input message for the mapping is the source1 message, source2 message, and my target message is my empty tgt message, right? I drag him here. I now go into the definition mode, and in my definition, now I can start dragging and dropping my employee. My employee ID is the same for both of them, so I can take it from anywhere. I'm mapping my employee ID. For the name, I'm going to take concat first name and last name, right? First name, last name. And for the address, like we told, we are going to map this address to address. And after we do that, we're going to right click and say return as XML. Remember, we saw this in the mapping functions, return as XML. Now let's go ahead and execute this, right? I'm going to expand. I'm going to call the first employee ID as 1. John Doe. Again, his employee number is also 1. He lives in, let's say, Manhattan in New York. Let's say the postal code is 12345. The country is US, and execute. All right, now the output should have the employee ID, John Doe, and the addresses concatenated. The entire address came here because we use return as string. Perfect. So let's just copy this because this is going to be used as our source file. I'll show you how to create the source file from this later, but for now just copy the XML and put it into your notepad. Now let's create an operation mapping. So OM underscore source 1 underscore source 2 underscore 2 underscore target, right? And say create. Okay. Now here our source mapping object interface is SIAA because you need the both messages, abstract asynchronous, because the mapping will get executed within the BPM. And again here you drag plus sign, give the two servers interfaces, and then go to the target. You're going to select abstract asynchronous target, say read operations. It has the two messages as the operations. Use the selection L. It will give you your mapping program. All right, save your mapping. And with that, your enterprise service repository is done. Let's go ahead and activate the changes. And my change list is activated. All right. With this, we come to the end of this session. Now in the next session, we will be going ahead and building and designing our ccBPM, where we are going to be combining the two files. Okay. I shall see you again soon in the next session. Bye-bye.